Hi, good afternoon. My presentation is going to be divided in four parts. First of all, thank you for the invitation. And Geospatial, the people from Geospatial invite me just to make a presentation about UN-GGIM and UN-GGIM Americas. But first, I would like to talk before something about sustainable development and something about a Caribbean project that we have in Mexico and my institution, INEGI. Well, we have heard a lot of during this morning about the technologies, the companies that made that presentation. They told us all the challenges that we have just to apply this technology. In the United Nations, after the Millennium Agenda, which is going to be over in 2015, United Nations is working in the Sustainable Development Agenda. And they began it, well, and in this project, we have a side event last January, and we present something about geospatial information and why is important the geospatial information and how can we measure and monitor sustainable development without location and without geography. That's why, well, in 2009, we have some meetings in United Nations, in particular in New York, in the 9th Regional Cartographic Conference of the Americas. And they began with some doubts about what to do with the information and discuss how to better coordinate the various regional and global activities in geospatial information. In July of 2011, ECOSOC considered the report of the General Secretary and adopt a resolution to create the United Nations Committee of Experts of Global Geospatial Information Management. And they asked to present a report in 2016. And why a global mechanism inside the United Nations? Well, we found that there's a significant gap in the recognition and management of geospatial information globally. There's a lack of global consultative and decision-making mechanisms among member states, in particular, in several global standards on geospatial information, developing common tools, and bringing geospatial information to bear in global policy. And this gap is increasingly being filled by the private sector, reducing the role of and influence of governments. And it's important to note that the governments and not the private sectors have the mandate and the accountability to maintain and deliver the national geospatial information based and related policy. And that's why in 2000 it was created UN-GGIM, a global initiative, a formal intergovernmental committee of experts just to coordinate the global geospatial information management and to make joint decisions and set direction to the use of geospatial information within the national and global policy frameworks, to address global issues and contribute collective knowledge as a community with shared interests and concerns, and to develop effective strategies to build geospatial capacity in developing countries. Which is the main agenda of UN-GGIM? Well, first of all, the global geodetic reference frame, the national institutional arrangement on geospatial information management, a global map for sustainable development, legal and policy frameworks, establishment and implementation of standards, linking of geospatial information to statistics and other data. This is a very important issue, just to incorporate and bring the statistics to the map, integration land and marine geospatial information, activities with geospatial information within the United Nations and development and knowledge base for geospatial information. Some results, let me give you some results. Well, there's a document, the future trends in geospatial information management. It was approved last year during the Cambridge conference of UN-GGIM 3. The presentation was in English, and now we have traduced in 6 languages: French, Chinese, Korean, Russian, and Spanish. And another, some words that Wahumbu, Undersecretary General for Economic and Social Affairs, said: building effective geospatial infrastructures and promoting greater use of geospatial information are part of the new frontiers in harnessing science and technology for advancing sustainable development. It incorporates the part of sustainable development and the participation of geospatial information. And in this particular area, and for sustainable development, let me mention that last week we have in Mexico and the Association of States of the Caribbean. Mexico has given some funding for the association just to create a project in the Caribbean for the management and the geospatial information in the Caribbean. There was the assistance of about 16 chief of state members, and it was presided by the President of Mexico. And another results of the initiative of UNGGIM are the fourth annual meetings. The one that it was in 2011 in Seoul, the other one in New York in 2012, in Cambridge in 2013, and next one that is going to be in August in New York again. And some high-level forums, the one in Seoul, another in Doha, Qatar, another in Chengdu, the high-level forum that we have in the United Nations inside the 8 working group for development sustainable, and 2 more workshops that we're going to have, one in June in Beijing for the integration and the statistical and geospatial, and another one for statistics and geospatial, which is going to be in New York in August. We just create a regional and global architecture. We have UNGGIM has 2 co-chairs. The one is Dr. Vanessa Lawrence from United Kingdom, which is present here, and Dr. Eduardo Sojo, who is the president of INEGI in Mexico. And we have some regional organizations, committees, one for the Asia Pacific, one for the Americas, the one that I'm president, and that Mr. Prasham is the vocal for North America. The other is the Arab states, Europe, and Africa. Inside the UNGGIM Americas, we have 5 working groups, one in geospatial data collection, one of access and use of geospatial information, one of standards, one of regional coordination, and one of promotion and assessment of spatial data infrastructure. Now, let me present you very quickly the Caribbean project. The general objective of this Caribbean project is to promote the development of the spatial data infrastructure in 16 countries in the Caribbean. The specific objectives is to reduce the geospatial data infrastructure gap in the region with respect to other countries in the continent, and to support the integration and participation of these 16 Caribbean countries in the UNGGIM Americas initiative. We have 4 steps in this project. First one is a diagnosis, and we made a questionnaire, which was traduced to the English, French, and Spanish. We sent it to the countries, and we made a workshop last month, and there were 16 countries that have participated. The second step is capacity building. That the idea is to construct a spatial capacity building for spatial data infrastructure, land and cover and vegetation classification system, and geospatial information systems. The third one is the acquisition of infrastructure. We want to create a Caribbean geodetic reference frame. We are going to build this. We are going to buy some computer equipment and telecommunication to promote the interoperability and facilitate timely geospatial information use and exchange. And finally, to incorporate one of the mandates of the UN-GGIM Americas in August of last year, it was to try to incorporate the Caribbean countries into the effort. That's why with the funding that we have from the Mexican government, which is about $4.5 million, we are going to take by infrastructure, and we are going to take the Caribbean countries to assist to the UNGGIM 4 and in August, and to go to UN-GGIM Americas in September, which is going to be our Latin American Geospatial Forum, and the one that you are invited in the same dates. Well, and the benefits of the Caribbean countries for this is just to have infrastructure and knowledge to advance in the development of the national spatial data infrastructure in each country, to advance in the construction of geodetic reference framework, regional and continental, to enable information access and exchange among these 16 countries, and to have information for regional plan design and implementation. This is the presentation, and very quickly let me present you what about our institute and what about INEGI. We have now two ways, one as a coordinator of the information and one as a producer of information since 2008, and when we have our autonomy. Now we have, as a coordinator, we coordinate the national statistical and geographical system information, which is a system that involves all the federal administration, the Supreme Court, the federal entities, municipalities, entities, states, and the deputies, Senate, central bank, and other autonomous organizations. All the information that all the states produce is coordinated and disseminated by our institute, by the SNIEG, the national system, and this is articulated by a national information network, and we have just for this 4 subsystems: one for geographical and environmental, one for produce and coordinate sociodemographic information, one for government and justice information, and one for economic information. The idea is, and the objective is to produce information, to timely disseminate the information, to promote the use of this information, and to preserve the information. In this, in particular, in the Committee of Geography and Environmental, we have 7 technical committees where we produce standards and produce this information, one for water, one for geography, one for emission and residues, and one for climate change, one for energy sector, one for catastrophe, and one for land and use and vegetation. As a producer, INEGI has, we have our national geostatistical framework, our topographic map of Mexico, and this national geostatistical framework is integrated by all the states, the 32 federal entities and 1 federal district, all the municipalities, and all the geostatistical locations, urban and rural locations, and 2,200,000 geostatistical blocks. We have this in a cartographic data base, and we have an open source map, our digital map, which is is created in open source, so we can use, and we have 158 vector data layers and more than 60 million geographic objects in 4 raster layers. We have two big projects. One of the economic unit reference, where we have georeference more than 4.4 million economic units, and our national housing inventory, where we have all the information from our census, in everything is georeference. All the households, number of members of each block, everything is georeferenced by block by block. Finally, we have environmental information from our municipality census. We have one model for water and one for waste. And we have all the information of our land and registry and catastrophe information system. Well, this is the information very quickly, and thank you very much for your time.